In the age when the 9 realms trembled beneath Odin's gaze and the prophecy of Ragnarok carved itself into every rune stone across Yggdrasil's branches, the fabric between worlds grew thin. The Norns had woven many fates: the fall of gods, the rise of mortals, the twilight of an age. But they had not woven this. When the Bifrost shattered that winter morning, it was not thunder that announced the arrival. It was silence, the kind of silence that precedes something the realms have never witnessed before. In the frozen heart of Midgard, where the Lake of Nine stretched beneath mountains that had watched civilizations rise and crumble, reality split open like a wound. No rainbow light, no Asgardian fanfare. Just a golden streak that burned across the sky like a falling star, trailing energy that made the world's serpent stir in waters that had been still for centuries. The figure that crashed into the snowdrifts 20 miles from the wildwoods moved before the impact crater stopped steaming. If you hunger for more tales of gods and monsters, strike that subscribe button like a Spartan's blade. Drop a comment below with the myth or character you want explored next, or which universe you want to see collide with these brutal realms. The gods are listening. Goku pushed himself out of the snow, shaking his head to clear the ringing in his ears. The cold bit at his skin immediately, not the comfortable chill of training in high altitudes, but something deeper, something that felt wrong in his bones. His orange GI was torn at the shoulder, still smoking from whatever had pulled him through the dimensional barrier. One moment he'd been sparring with Vegeta, pushing their limits in the hyperbolic time chamber. The next, reality had simply cracked. Some kind of energy he'd never felt before had seized him mid-punch, and then he was falling through a kaleidoscope of colors that hurt to look at, through spaces between spaces that shouldn't exist. "Okay," Goku muttered, his breath misting in air so cold it felt sharp. "This definitely isn't Earth." He looked up at the sky, gray, heavy with snow that never seemed to stop falling. Mountains surrounded him on all sides, their peaks disappearing into clouds that looked almost solid. In the distance, an enormous tree rose beyond the horizon, its trunk so vast it seemed to hold up the sky itself. Goku had seen plenty of strange things. He'd fought on alien worlds, trained with gods, died and come back more times than he cared to count. But this place felt different, ancient, like the stones themselves were watching him. He tried to sense energy signatures, reaching out with his ki sense the way he'd done a million times before. Nothing. Not the usual emptiness of a barren world, but genuine nothing, like trying to see with an eye that had been closed his entire life. The absence was so complete it made him stumble. "What the?" Goku concentrated, trying to power up just a fraction. His ki responded, golden energy flickering around his fist, but it felt sluggish. Wrong, like trying to run through water. The energy sparked and died, and with it came a sensation he hadn't felt in years. Genuine uncertainty. He was in a world that didn't follow the rules he'd spent his entire life mastering. A howl cut through the mountains. Not a wolf. Something bigger. Something that carried rage in its voice like a living thing. Goku's Saiyan instincts kicked in immediately, his body falling into a fighting stance even as his mind raced through the problem. No ki sense, unreliable energy, unknown threats. He grinned despite himself. Guess I'm doing this the old-fashioned way. The snow crunched behind him. Goku spun, fists raised, and found himself looking at a tree. Just a tree, gnarled and dead, its branches twisted like arthritic fingers. But he could have sworn movement in the corner of his eye, shadows that didn't match the landscape. His stomach growled. Goku looked down at himself, surprised. He'd just eaten before training, but the hunger felt bone deep, like he hadn't had a meal in days. Whatever that dimensional trip had done, it had burned through his energy reserves completely. He needed food, shelter, and information. Probably in that order. The warrior from another universe set off through the snow, following the slope downward toward what looked like a frozen lake in the distance. He didn't know that he was walking through a realm where gods played games with mortal lives. He didn't know that his arrival had already been felt by the Allfather in his high hall, registered as an anomaly that defied every prophecy. He didn't know that the smartest man alive, a severed head carried by a ghost, and his son would soon speak words that hadn't been spoken in 3,000 years. The outsider walks among us. What Goku did know, as his boots crunched through snow that felt heavier than any snow should, was that he needed to find someone who could point him toward food and maybe explain where the heck he'd ended up. In any universe, that seemed like a reasonable plan. The warrior who had faced gods, destroyed planets, and transcended mortality itself trudged through the Norse winter, completely unaware that in this realm, reasonable plans had a way of ending in blood and fire. Behind him, the impact crater continued to steam. The energy signature it released spread through the realms like ripples in a cosmic pond, touching things that had slept since before the Age of Gods. In Asgard, Odin's one eye opened wide. In Midgard, Kratos stopped mid-swing, his axe embedded in a tree, every instinct screaming that something had changed. In Jotunheim, sealed and hidden, the last of the giants felt the dimensional wound and knew. The prophecies were incomplete. Something new had entered the pattern. And in the depths beneath the Lake of Nine, the world serpent, Jormungandr, spoke a single word in the language of creation that rippled backward and forward through time simultaneously. Roughly translated, it meant, finally. The father and son had been hunting Draugr in the wildwoods when Kratos felt it. A disturbance in the air itself, like reality had been struck and was still vibrating from the impact. His hand went to the Leviathan axe on his back, fingers closing around the familiar leather grip. Beside him, Atreus tensed, his bow already drawn, arrow nocked and ready. "Father," the boy whispered, "do you feel that?" Kratos said nothing. He'd learned long ago that some questions answered themselves if you waited and watched. The sensation reminded him of divine magic, but wrong. Not the calculated manipulation of the Aesir or the raw natural power of the Vanir. This was something else entirely. Something that made his godly blood respond with recognition even though his mind found no memory to match it. They'd been tracking a particularly dangerous Draugr that had been attacking travelers on the road to the mountain when the feeling hit. Now the undead seemed irrelevant. Kratos made a decision. "We investigate," he said, his voice carrying the finality of stone. "Stay close." Atreus nodded, falling into step behind his father as they moved through the forest with practiced silence. Years of hunting together had taught them to move as one unit, Kratos' raw power and experience balanced by Atreus' sharp eyes and quicker reflexes. The snow was falling heavier now, but Kratos barely noticed. His mind was already calculating threats, possibilities, divine interference. The tracks they found 20 minutes later made him stop completely. Footprints in the snow, human-sized, barefoot despite the killing cold. But that wasn't what made Kratos kneel to examine them more closely. The prints were surrounded by scorch marks, not fire. Something else that had melted the snow and left the ground underneath warm to the touch. "Father, look." Atreus pointed ahead where the tracks led. In the distance, through the heavy snowfall, a figure trudged through the drifts. Orange clothing that stood out like a wound against the white landscape. Dark hair that stuck up in a way that suggested either elaborate styling or complete disregard for appearance. The figure moved with purpose, but not direction, like someone who knew how to walk but had no idea where they were going. Kratos' hand remained on his axe. In his experience, strangers in Midgard meant complications. Divine complications, usually. "Could be a trap," Atreus suggested, but his tone was more curious than concerned. The boy had inherited his mother's compassion alongside his father's wariness, and Kratos knew which would win this particular internal battle. "Could be," Kratos agreed. He stepped forward anyway, positioning himself between his son and the stranger. "You there?" he called out, his voice carrying across the snow like a weapon itself. "Stop!" The figure turned, and Kratos got his first clear look. A man, younger than Kratos, but old enough to have scars that told stories. His clothing was definitely orange, some kind of martial uniform with a symbol on the back that Kratos didn't recognize. But it was the man's face that gave Kratos pause, open, curious, completely lacking the fear or aggression that usually met armed warriors in frozen wastes. The stranger smiled, actually smiled, as if encountering a 7-foot-tall god covered in ash, and carrying an axe was a pleasant surprise rather than a death sentence. "Hey there," the stranger called back, waving enthusiastically. "Am I glad to see another person? I'm totally lost. Don't suppose you know where I can find some food? I'm starving." Atreus glanced at his father with barely concealed surprise. Kratos' grip on the axe tightened. Nothing about this was normal. The stranger approached with no weapon drawn, no defensive stance, no recognition of danger. Either he was the greatest actor Kratos had ever encountered, or he was genuinely this naive. Given the gods Kratos had killed, both options seemed equally unlikely. "You are far from any settlement," Kratos said, watching every movement. "How did you come to be here?" The stranger, Goku, though Kratos didn't know that yet, scratched the back of his head sheepishly. "That's kind of a long story. Short version, I was training back home and then something grabbed me. Some kind of portal or dimensional rift or something. Next thing I know, I'm face down in snow and my energy's all weird and I can't sense anything and..." He stopped, seeming to realize he was rambling. "Sorry. I talk a lot when I'm confused. I'm Goku." He extended his hand in a gesture that Kratos recognized as a greeting from some cultures, though not one common in the Norse realms. Kratos didn't take it. "Dimensional travel," he said flatly. "You claim to be from another realm." "Another universe, actually," Goku corrected cheerfully. "I think, unless you guys have something called Earth here, with 7 Dragon Balls scattered around it. No? Yeah. Different universe then." He seemed remarkably unbothered by this. Atreus stepped forward despite his father's warning glance. "I'm Atreus," he said. "That's my father, Kratos. You said your energy feels weird." Goku's expression brightened at finding someone interested in the details. Yeah, back home I can sense people's energy from miles away. Fly, shoot energy blasts, the usual stuff. Here, he held up his hand and concentrated. Golden light flickered around his fingers, sputtering like a dying flame before stabilizing into a weak glow. See? It's like trying to start a fire underwater. The power's there, but something about this place makes it not work right. Kratos and Atreus exchanged glances. They'd seen plenty of magic, plenty of godly power. But this casual discussion of abilities that sounded simultaneously familiar and completely alien set off every warning bell Kratos possessed. Come, Kratos decided abruptly. We will return to our home. You will explain everything, and if I sense deception, you'll probably kill me. Yeah, I get it, Goku finished, still smiling. Fair enough. I've got nothing to hide, and honestly, I could really use a guide. This place is pretty different from home. As they began walking, Kratos kept his senses alert for any sign of ambush or divine manipulation. But the stranger called Goku simply walked beside them, asking questions about the trees, the mountains, why the snow felt heavy, and whether there were any good places to spar around here. Atreus answered most of them, his natural curiosity overcoming his caution. Kratos remained silent. Processing. A warrior from another universe, displaced by dimensional rupture, possessing power that functioned differently in the 9 realms. In his long and violent life, Kratos had seen many things, but this was new. And in his experience, new almost always meant dangerous. What troubled him most was the stranger's demeanor. No fear, no agenda he could detect. Just genuine confusion and an almost childlike openness that reminded him of Atreus before the boy learned the truth about what they were. Either this Goku was the most dangerous kind of enemy, one who wore innocence as a mask, or he was exactly what he appeared to be. Kratos wasn't sure which possibility worried him more. The journey back to the house took 2 hours, and in that time, Kratos learned more about the stranger than he'd intended. Goku talked, constantly, about his world, his friends, something called senzu beans that healed injuries, battles against beings with names like Frieza and Cell, and a technique called the Kamehameha that apparently could destroy planets. Atreus hung on every word, asking questions faster than Goku could answer them. Kratos listened, cataloging everything, searching for inconsistencies. He found none. Either the stranger was genuinely from another universe, or he was insane, possibly both. They were half a mile from the house when the troll emerged from the frozen cave system. It rose from the ice like a mountain coming to life. 15 feet of muscle, stone-like hide, and pillars for arms. Its roar shook snow from the trees, and its eyes fixed on the 3 figures with the focused hunger of something that hadn't eaten in weeks. Kratos had his axe in hand before the echo faded. Atreus's bow was drawn, shock arrows ready. Goku just looked up at the creature with interest. "Whoa," he said. "That's a big guy. What is it?" "Frost troll," Kratos replied, already moving into position. "Stay back." But Goku stepped forward instead, rolling his shoulders like he was warming up for a light workout. "Mind if I handle this one? I need to test something about how my power works here." Before Kratos could respond, the troll charged. The ground shook with each step. Draugr would have fled. Mortal warriors would have died. Goku stood his ground, feet planted, and caught the troll's descending fist with both hands. The impact cratered the ground beneath his feet. Snow exploded outward in a perfect circle. The shockwave rattled Kratos' teeth. But Goku held. His arms trembled with effort, boots digging trenches through frozen earth, but he held. The troll's eyes widened in something that might have been surprise. "Okay," Goku grunted, muscles straining. "Stronger than it looks. Can't use ki to boost my strength reliably. Good to know." The troll brought its other fist down. Goku released his grip and dodged, moving with speed that blurred the air. Not godly speed. Kratos had seen gods move, had moved that way himself. This was pure physical velocity, enhanced by technique rather than divine power. Goku appeared beside the troll's leg and delivered a punch to its knee. The sound was like a boulder splitting. The troll staggered, roaring in pain and confusion. It swung wildly, massive arms carving through the air. Goku ducked, weaved, blocked with his forearms when he couldn't dodge. Each impact Kratos heard made him reassess. No mortal could take hits like that. No mortal should still be standing. "Atreus," Kratos said quietly. "Watch carefully." The boy nodded, his bow lowering slightly as they observed the stranger's fighting style. It was unlike anything Kratos had seen. No wasted movement. Every dodge flowed into a counterstrike. Every block positioned him for the next attack. This wasn't the brutal efficiency of Spartan combat or the raw godly power of Olympian warfare. This was martial art, refined to its purest form, a lifetime of fighting distilled into instinct. Goku tried to power up again, golden energy flickering around his body. For a moment it held, his hair lifting as if in wind that wasn't there. The energy blazed brighter, and the troll actually stepped back, sensing something in that glow that its primitive brain recognized as danger. Then the energy sputtered out like a candle in a storm. Goku stumbled, the sudden absence of power throwing off his balance. The troll seized the opportunity, backhanding him with enough force to send him flying into a tree. The trunk cracked. Goku hit the snow and rolled, coming up with blood on his lip. "Okay," he said, wiping it away with a grin that looked almost excited. "So Super Saiyan's definitely not reliable here. Got it." He charged back in, and this time Kratos saw the strategy. Goku wasn't trying to overpower the troll. He was wearing it down. Every punch targeted joints, every kick swept at legs already compromised. The stranger fought like someone who understood anatomy on an instinctive level, who knew exactly where to strike to cause maximum damage with minimum power. The troll swung again. Goku caught its wrist, twisted, used the creature's own momentum to throw it off balance. It was a technique Kratos recognized from his own Spartan training, but executed with a precision that suggested thousands of hours of practice. "Father," Atreus whispered, "he's not using any magic at all." "I know," Kratos replied. He'd been thinking the same thing. In the 9 realms, warriors relied on runic attacks, enchanted weapons, divine blessings. This stranger fought with nothing but skill and what appeared to be natural physical ability that defied natural laws. The troll roared and brought both fists down in a hammer blow that would have crushed stone. Goku crossed his arms above his head and caught it. The ground beneath him gave way, his legs sinking into frozen earth up to his knees. The troll pushed down with all its weight. Goku pushed back. For a moment, they were locked, neither giving ground. Then Kratos saw something shift in Goku's expression. Not anger, Focus. Pure, absolute focus. The kind of focus that came from pushing past every limit, from refusing to accept defeat even when defeat seemed inevitable. Kaioken, Goku said through gritted teeth. Red energy exploded around his body, more stable than the golden power had been. Not Kai in the way he'd described, Kratos realized, but something else. Something that burned through his own body's reserves rather than drawing on external energy. It was closer to Spartan rage than godly magic. And perhaps that's why it worked when his other powers failed. Goku stood up, the troll's massive weight meaning nothing against this new surge of strength. He twisted, throwing the creature over his shoulder with a technique that defied physics. The troll flew 20 feet and crashed into the frozen lake beyond the trees. The ice cracked, but didn't break. The creature struggled to rise, clearly dazed. Goku dropped to one knee, the red energy fading as quickly as it had appeared. His breathing was heavy, sweat freezing on his face despite the exertion. "2 is about all I can maintain here," he muttered to himself. "Any higher, and this place's weird metaphysics might tear me apart." He looked up as the troll climbed to its feet again, shaking its head. How long do these things usually fight for?" "Until they die," Kratos said, stepping forward. Enough observation. He'd learned what he needed to know. The stranger was powerful, but not invincible here. Honest in his assessment of his own limitations, and most importantly, fighting with restraint, trying to drive the troll off rather than kill it. That kind of mercy was rare in the 9 realms. Kratos called the Leviathan axe to his hand with a thought. He threw it in one fluid motion. The axe flew true, embedding itself in the troll's skull with a crack like thunder. The creature froze mid-step, ice spreading from the wound. Then it toppled backward, dead before it hit the ground. Silence fell over the wildwoods. Goku stood up slowly, watching as Kratos recalled the axe. It flew back to his hand, frost still crystallizing on the blade. "Thanks for the assist," Goku said. "I think I could have handled it, but that was way cleaner." "You fought well," Kratos acknowledged, "but you held back." "Yeah, well," Goku scratched his head again. "It was just hungry, right? Didn't seem like it needed to die." Kratos studied the stranger for a long moment. In all his years in Midgard, he'd never met anyone who saw a troll as anything but a threat to be eliminated. "You are strange," he said finally. Goku laughed. "I get that a lot." The house sat in a clearing surrounded by ancient trees, modest but solid, built by hands that understood both craftsmanship and defensibility. Smoke rose from the chimney, and as they approached, Goku could see intricate carvings on the doorframe. Symbols that felt heavy with meaning even though he couldn't read them. Inside, warmth hit like a physical thing. A fire crackled in the hearth, and the space was sparse but lived in. Weapons on the walls, furs on the floor, a workbench covered in what looked like leather working tools. Atreus immediately busied himself preparing food, while Kratos stood near the door, arms crossed, still watching Goku with an intensity that would have made most people uncomfortable. Goku just looked around with open curiosity. "Nice place," he said genuinely. "Reminds me of Master Roshi's house, kind of. More wooden, though, and colder. Definitely colder." A voice spoke from the corner, making Goku jump. Well, the anomaly walks and talks, and here I thought today would be boring." Goku spun toward the sound and found himself staring at a head. Just a head, suspended in a leather sling hanging from Kratos' belt. A head with eyes that glowed faintly and a mouth twisted in something between a smirk and genuine concern. "What the? You're alive," Goku blurted out. "Very observant, this one," the head said dryly. "Yes, I'm alive. Mimir's the name, smartest man alive, though the alive part is admittedly technical these days. And you, friend, are something I never expected to see in all my centuries of seeing things I never expected." Kratos lifted the sling, bringing Mimir to eye level. "Speak plainly." "Right, yes, of course." Mimir's expression grew serious. "Our orange-clad friend here isn't from the Nine Realms. Isn't from any realm connected to Yggdrasil, in fact. The energy signature coming off him is all wrong. Dimensional rather than planar. He's punched through from somewhere else entirely. Somewhere the world tree doesn't touch." "I could have told you that," Goku said, still staring at the talking head with fascination. "But how do you know?" "Because, lad, I've studied the branches of reality for longer than most kingdoms have existed. I know what belongs and what doesn't, and you." Mimir's eyes narrowed. "You're a tear in the tapestry, a thread from another weaving entirely, and your presence here is causing ripples that are going to attract very unwanted attention." "The All-Father," Kratos said, not a question. "Aye. Odin's probably already felt it. Anything that defies his understanding becomes his obsession, and you, my friend, are the very definition of something he can't categorize." Mimir paused. "There's more, though. Something in the old texts, fragments from before even my time. References to the outsider, a warrior from beyond the branches who would arrive when the weaving grew unstable." "Prophecy," Kratos said with barely contained disgust. "Always prophecy." "What's prophecy?" Goku asked, accepting a plate of food from Atreus with an enthusiastic thank you. He tore into it immediately, eating with a single-minded focus of someone who'd been genuinely starving. Atreus blinked. "You don't know what prophecy is?" "Well, I mean, I know the word," Goku said between bites. "But back home, people sometimes say stuff about the future, and then we just kind of do whatever and things work out different anyway. We had this oracle fish once that said Beerus would fight Super Saiyan God, but the whole thing got kind of messy and..." He stopped, noticing everyone staring. "Is that not how prophecy works here?" "Here," Mimir said carefully. "Prophecy is written in stone, carved into the world tree itself. The Norns weave fate and those threads don't break. You can't change what's meant to be." Goku frowned, actually stopping eating for a moment. "That sounds really limiting. What if you don't like what's supposed to happen?" Kratos' expression shifted almost imperceptibly. Atreus noticed. He knew his father well enough to read the micro-expressions that others missed. The stranger had just said something that resonated. Something that touched on the very thing they'd been fighting against since learning about the prophecy of Kratos' death. "We are working on that problem," Kratos said slowly. "Yeah?" Goku's face brightened. "That's good. I mean, nobody should tell you how your story ends, right? You got to make your own choices." The simple conviction in those words hung in the air. Mimir coughed, breaking the moment. "Well, philosophy aside, we've got practical concerns. Odin will come calling, guaranteed. The question is whether he'll send Thor first or try diplomacy." "Thor?" Goku perked up. "Is that like a name here or a title? Back home I met someone named Trunks, which was a weird name, but God of Thunder," Atreus explained. strongest of the Aesir after Odin. He's not nice. We killed his sons, Kratos added bluntly. He wants revenge. Oh, Goku processed this. That's complicated. So if he shows up, we're fighting. If Thor shows up, Mimir interjected. You're dying. No offense, lad, but you couldn't maintain your power against a frost troll. Thor's hit things so hard he's splintered the world tree itself. Mjolnir, his hammer, has leveled mountains, and he won't hold back like you did with that troll. Goku set down his empty plate, his expression thoughtful. So I need to figure out how to fight properly in this world. My Kai doesn't work right because the metaphysics are different. You said dimensional versus planar, right? But my high-octane worked better because it's internal rather than external energy manipulation. You understood that? Mimir asked, surprised. I'm not great with books and stuff, Goku admitted. But when it comes to fighting and energy, I pick things up pretty quick. King Kai taught me that different universes have different rules for how ki flows. Guess this is just more extreme. He looked at Kratos. How does your power work? That axe, it flew back to your hand like it was toyed to you. The Leviathan axe is imbued with Jotnar magic, Kratos explained. Forged by the dwarves, Brock and Sindri. It answers to my call. So the weapon holds the magic, not just you. And when you threw it, you weren't using energy blasts. You were using pure physical force plus the weapon's enchantment. Goku stood up, pacing now, his mind clearly working through the problem. What if I approached my techniques that way? Instead of trying to project ki externally, what if I focused everything internally? Made my body the weapon instead of channeling energy outward? The lad's actually thinking strategically, Mimir observed. Color me impressed. I've fought in places where ki didn't work before, Goku continued. In the world of Void, during the Tournament of Power, there was no energy to draw from, so we had to rely entirely on what we brought with us. This is similar. I just need to adapt. Kratos nodded slowly. You learn quickly. I've had good teachers. Goku smiled. Master Roshi, King Kai, Whis, they all taught me that technique matters more than raw power. Guess this is just another training exercise. A sound outside made everyone freeze. Not a troll, not Draugr, something else. The air pressure changed, and through the window the sky darkened, despite it being midday. Thunder rumbled, but it wasn't natural thunder. It was deliberate, purposeful, a warning. That's not good, Atreus whispered. Kratos was already moving toward the door, axe in hand. Goku followed, and even without ki sense, he could feel it. That pressure in the air that came before serious fights. The kind of pressure that usually meant someone really powerful was about to show up. They stepped outside into snow that had suddenly begun to swirl in patterns that had nothing to do with wind. In the sky above, storm clouds gathered with impossible speed, rotating around a central point like a vortex. Lightning cracked, not striking the ground, but writing something in the air. Runes that burned themselves into Goku's vision, even though he couldn't read them. What does it say? He asked. Atreus's voice was tight. It's an invitation from Odin. He wants to meet the stranger who fell from the sky. How polite, Mimir said darkly, which means it's definitely a trap. Goku looked at the burning runes, then at Kratos, then back at the sky. In his experience, when powerful beings sent invitations, ignoring them just made things worse. but accepting them rarely went well either. "What do you think?" he asked Kratos. The Ghost of Sparta studied the runes with an expression carved from stone and bitter experience. "I think," he said slowly, "that the All-Father has made his first move, and refusing will bring war to our door. And accepting will bring war anyway," Kratos finished, "but perhaps on ground we choose." Goku cracked his knuckles, that familiar excitement building despite the danger. "Then I guess we're going to meet this Odin guy. Should be interesting." Above them, the runes burned brighter, as if the All-Father himself were listening. The invitation hung in the air like a noose, and somewhere in Asgard, in a hall built on lies and obsession, Odin smiled. The journey to meet Odin's messenger took them to the shores of the Lake of Nine, where the water stretched out like black glass beneath storm clouds that refused to dissipate. Goku walked between Kratos and Atreus, studying everything with the focus of someone who understood that ignorance in unfamiliar territory got you killed. He'd stopped asking constant questions, instead watching how father and son move through this world, learning its rhythms. A raven landed on a stone pillar ahead of them, larger than any raven had right to be. Its eyes glowed with intelligence that was distinctly unnatural, and when it opened its beak, the voice that emerged was male, aged, and carried authority like a weapon. "Kratos, son of Laufey, and the stranger who tears holes in reality." The raven's head tilted, focusing on Goku. "The All-Father extends his hospitality. He would meet this visitor to our realms in the Great Hall of Asgard, where proper introductions can be made between civilized beings." "Civilized," Kratos repeated, the word carrying enough contempt to curdle milk. "The All-Father's hospitality killed thousands. His civilization is built on graves. The past is full of necessary evils," the raven replied smoothly, "but the present offers opportunity for understanding. This stranger represents something new, something unprecedented. Surely even you recognize the value in comprehending what has arrived in our realms before assuming hostility." Goku stepped forward. "I'm Goku, and yeah, I'll meet with him. I need to find a way home anyway, and if this Odin guy knows about dimensional travel, maybe he can help." "Lad," Mimir hissed from Kratos' belt. "That's exactly what he's counting on. Odin doesn't help. He manipulates. He'll promise you answers while binding you in obligations you don't understand." "But what if he actually can help?" Goku asked reasonably. "Back home, even bad guys sometimes know useful stuff. I worked with Frieza once to save the universe. Didn't mean I trusted him, just meant we had aligned interests." The raven's eyes gleamed. "Pragmatic? The All-Father appreciates pragmatism. He awaits you in Asgard, accessible through the Unity Stone at the temple. Come alone or with companions. The choice is yours. But come before the sun sets or the invitation expires." The raven launched into the air and dissipated into smoke before it reached the clouds. Kratos watched it go with an expression that suggested he was calculating exactly how many ways this could end in disaster. "We don't go," he said flatly. "Wait, why not?" Goku turned to him. "I mean, I get that you don't like the guy, but if he might know something about dimensional rifts..." "Odin collects knowledge the way a dragon hoards gold," Mimir interrupted. "Everything he learns becomes leverage. You walk into Asgard, you walk into a web with him as the spider. Every word you speak, every question you ask, every reaction you have, he'll catalog it all and use it against you." But I don't have anything he can use against me, Goku pointed out. I don't know anyone here. I don't have any agenda except getting home, and I'm not involved in whatever conflict you guys have going on. That's not how it works, lad. Mimir's voice carried genuine concern. Odin doesn't need existing leverage. He creates it. He'll find what you care about and twist it until it serves his purposes. The fact that you want to go home, that's already a hook he can use to manipulate you. Atreus spoke up quietly. But what if Goku's right? What if Odin is the only one who might understand what brought him here? The Bifrost connects realms, but this is different. This is dimensional. That's the kind of thing Odin would have studied. Kratos looked at his son, and Goku saw something pass between them. Some unspoken understanding built on shared experiences he wasn't part of. You want to go, Kratos said. To see if Odin's knowledge might help us understand prophecy better, Atreus admitted. If Goku came from outside the branches of Yggdrasil, outside the weaving of fate, maybe that means there are ways to exist outside prophecy, ways to change what's written. Now Goku understood. This wasn't just about helping a stranger. Kratos and Atreus were fighting their own battle against predetermined fate. His arrival represented possibility, proof that the system they were trapped in had cracks. Kratos was silent for a long moment, his jaw tight with the weight of impossible decisions. Finally, he spoke. We go, but we trust nothing, we accept nothing, and we leave the moment I sense deception. Works for me, Goku agreed. I'm pretty good at sensing when people are lying anyway. Different universe or not, bad guys usually give themselves away. Odin isn't a bad guy. You can punch into submission, Mimir warned. He's the god of deception itself. His lies are so sophisticated, they circle back around to truth. He'll tell you exactly what you want to hear in ways that are technically accurate while leading you to completely wrong conclusions. So basically, I should assume everything he says is manipulation. Now you're learning, Mimir said approvingly. The journey to the temple took another hour. As they walked, Goku noticed the landscape changing subtly. The snow fell in patterns that seemed too regular. The trees grew at angles that defied nature, and occasionally he'd catch glimpses of things in his peripheral vision that vanished when he looked directly at them. This place feels different, he said. Different how? Atreus asked. Like reality's thinner here. Back home, there are places where the dimensional barriers are weak, where you can feel other universes pressing close. This reminds me of that, except instead of other universes, it feels like I'm sensing other times, like past and future are bleeding through into the present. Kratos and Atreus exchanged another look. The world tree connects all realms across time and space, Atreus explained. In some places, especially around the temple, you can feel that connection stronger. Some people see visions of what was or what will be. Huh, Goku said. That's going to make fighting complicated if I start seeing things that aren't actually there. Welcome to the 9 realms, Mimir said dryly. They reached the temple as the sun began its descent toward the horizon. The Unity Stone stood in the center, a crystalline structure that pulsed with energy Goku could actually feel even through the dimensional static that interfered with his ki sense. This was raw, fundamental power, the kind that held reality together at its seams. Kratos placed his hand on the stone, and reality bent. The temple dissolved, replaced by a corridor of light that stretched in directions that hurt to look at. Goku felt the dimensional shift like pressure against his skull, and for just a moment, he caught a glimpse of something vast, the world tree itself, branches spreading through infinity, connecting realms and times and possibilities in a pattern so complex it made his head spin. Then they were standing in Asgard. The city was golden. That was Goku's first thought. Everything was gold and shining and built with architecture that seemed designed to overwhelm visitors with its grandeur. Towers stretched toward a sky that was perpetually twilight, neither day nor night, but something between. And in the distance, dominating everything, stood a hall so massive it made the buildings around it look like children's toys. Valaskjalf, Kratos said quietly. Odin's hall. The seat of his power, Mimir added, where he sits on Hlidskjalf, the high seat that lets him see across all realms. He's watching us right now, guaranteed. Goku looked up at the hall and felt something he hadn't felt since arriving in this world. Genuine anticipation. Not the excitement of a good fight, but the tension of stepping into completely unknown territory where the rules were written by someone else. Valkyries appeared from nowhere, surrounding them with spears that crackled with lethal intent. Their armor was pristine, their faces hidden behind helmets that reflected the golden light of the realm. "The All-Father will see you now," one of them announced. "Follow and do not stray from the path." As they walked through streets where divine beings watched with expressions ranging from curiosity to contempt, Goku couldn't shake the feeling that he was walking into something far more dangerous than any fight. Because fights he understood. Politics, manipulation, and gods who treated truth as a flexible concept. That was territory where his instincts might not be enough. The Great Hall of Valaskjalf was designed to make visitors feel insignificant. The ceiling stretched so high, it disappeared into shadows that defied the torchlight, and pillars carved from single pieces of marble rose like frozen giants. Tapestries depicting Odin's victories covered the walls, conquests over giants, binding of Fenrir, claiming of the runes. Every image spoke of power, absolute, and wisdom gained through sacrifice. At the far end, elevated on a platform that required climbing 13 steps, sat the high seat Hlidskjalf. And on that seat sat Odin. He was smaller than Goku expected. Not physically diminished, but deliberately understated. No golden armor, no crown, just simple robes of deep blue and a wide-brimmed hat that shadowed his face. One eye was missing, the socket covered by a leather patch, while the other eye studied them with intensity that felt like being dissected. Two ravens perched on the back of his throne. A spear leaned against the armrest, Gungnir, Goku assumed, based on Mimir's earlier descriptions. "Kratos," Odin said, his voice conversational, almost friendly. "I wondered if you'd accept my invitation, and you brought the boy. How trusting." "We are here," Kratos replied, not moving beyond the base of the steps. "Speak your purpose." Always so direct. "I appreciate that about you, truly. No games, no pretense." Odin leaned forward slightly, his single eye shifting to Goku. "But you're the mystery. The anomaly that appeared in my realms without prophecy, without warning, without precedent. Tell me, stranger, what are you?" Goku met the god's gaze without flinching. "My name's Goku. I'm a Saiyan from Earth, Universe 7. I was training back home when something pulled me through dimensions, and now I'm here. That pretty much covers it." A Saiyan, Odin repeated, tasting the word. Universe 7. Fascinating terminology. You speak of multiple universes as if they're established fact rather than theoretical philosophy. And this pulling, did it feel intentional, directed? I don't know, Goku admitted. It was sudden, like reality just grabbed me and yanked me through a hole that shouldn't have existed. I've traveled between dimensions before, but this was different, rougher. Odin stood, descending the steps with measured precision. As he moved, Goku noticed how everyone in the hall tensed. Kratos' hand drifting toward his axe, Atreus' toward his bow, even the Valkyries shifting their grips on their spears. This was a man whose every movement was a potential threat. Different how? Odin asked, stopping 3 steps from the bottom, maintaining the height advantage while appearing to close the distance. Technical question, I know, but humor me. The Allfather has devoted considerable time to understanding the barriers between realms. Your arrival suggests those barriers are weaker than I thought, or something has damaged them. Goku considered how much to share. Back home, he'd learned that being honest usually worked out better than lying, but Mimir's warnings echoed in his mind. Still, if Odin could actually help, holding back information seemed counterproductive. It felt like the barrier was already torn, Goku said carefully, like I didn't break through so much as fall through a hole that was already there. And when I landed, the energy signature, my Kai, it destabilized, made the tear worse, maybe. Odin's eye gleamed. Ah, so your presence isn't just anomalous, it's actively damaging. The dimensional wound is spreading, fed by your very existence in our realms. Fascinating. Terrible, but fascinating. Can you fix it? Goku asked directly. Can I send you home, you mean? Odin smiled, and it was the smile of someone who'd just been handed exactly the leverage they wanted. Possibly. The knowledge exists, scattered across various texts and ruins. The Jotnar studied such things before they departed, but gathering that knowledge, understanding it, applying it, that would take time, resources, cooperation. Here it comes, Mimir muttered from Kratos' belt. There's no such thing as a free answer at this one. Odin ignored the severed head. I'm prepared to help you, Goku of Earth. In fact, I'm motivated to help you, since your continued presence apparently threatens the stability of my realms. But I would ask something in return. A small thing, really. Nothing he asks is small, Kratos said flatly. Oh, Kratos, still so bitter about our misunderstandings. Odin turned his attention to the Ghost of Sparta. I seek only to prevent Ragnarok, to preserve the realms from destruction. Is that so villainous? And now, with this dimensional instability, we face a new threat, one that could accelerate the twilight of the gods if not addressed. What do you want? Goku asked, cutting through the tension. Odin appreciated the directness. Information. You claim to have traveled between dimensions before, fought beings of immense power, achieved transformations that transcend mortal limits. I want to understand how. The techniques you've mastered, the training methods you've employed, the metaphysical frameworks that allow someone to, as you put it, sense energy and manipulate ki. That knowledge could help me stabilize the dimensional barriers, prevent future incursions. You want to learn how I fight, Goku simplified. I want to learn how your universe functions, Odin corrected. The underlying principles. In exchange, I'll dedicate my resources to finding a way to return you home without causing catastrophic dimensional collapse. A fair trade, your knowledge for your freedom. It sounded reasonable. That was what bothered Goku most. The offer was logical, mutually beneficial, and addressed exactly what he needed. Which meant, based on everything he'd been told, that it was probably a trap. "And if I refuse?" Goku asked. Odin's expression didn't change, but something in the air shifted. The Valkyries adjusted their stances almost imperceptibly. "Then you remain here, growing increasingly unstable, until the dimensional wound you're causing either tears the realms apart or collapses entirely, potentially destroying both your universe and mine. I'd rather avoid that outcome." "That's a threat," Atreus said, his voice hard. "That's reality," Odin replied calmly. "I'm not threatening to cause harm. I'm pointing out the harm that will occur naturally if we don't act. There's a difference." Goku looked at Kratos, then at Mimir, trying to read their reactions. Kratos' face was stone, giving nothing away, but his knuckles were white around the axe handle. Mimir's expression was pure frustration, the look of someone watching a friend walk into an obvious trap and being unable to stop them. "How long do I have to decide?" Goku asked. "The dimensional wound grows worse each day," Odin said. "I'd suggest sooner rather than later, but take the night. Consider your options. My hall is open to you. Guest rooms have been prepared. Asgardian hospitality is legendary after all." "We're not staying here," Kratos said immediately. "Of course not." Odin smiled again. "I wouldn't dream of insisting, but the offer stands. Think carefully, Goku of Earth. You're far from home, in a realm whose rules you don't understand, facing a problem that could kill everyone you've ever known. I'm offering a solution. All I ask is knowledge, something you possess in abundance and lose nothing by sharing." He ascended the steps again, returning to his high seat. "Return tomorrow with your answer. The Unity Stone will grant you passage." "Oh, and Goku." Odin's single eye fixed on him with intensity that felt physical. "While you're deciding, ask yourself, what would your friends do if they knew you had a chance to save both universes but refused out of suspicion? Would they understand? Or would they wonder why you let distrust doom them?" The words hit harder than any physical blow. Because Odin was right. If there was even a chance this could work, could Goku justify refusing just because he didn't trust the source? Chi-Chi, Gohan, Goten, Piccolo, Vegeta, all his friends back home. Wouldn't they want him to try anything that might work? "We're leaving," Kratos said, turning toward the entrance. Goku followed, his mind churning. As they walked back through the golden streets of Asgard, he couldn't shake the feeling that he'd just played exactly the role Odin wanted him to play. The All-Father had planted a seed of doubt, and now it would grow whether Goku wanted it to or not. They returned to Midgard in silence, each lost in their own thoughts. The transition through the Unity Stone felt heavier this time, like reality resisted their passage, and when they emerged back at the temple, the sky had darkened to full night. Stars overhead formed patterns Goku didn't recognize, constellations that told stories he couldn't read. Back at the house, Atreus built up the fire while Kratos stood at the window, staring out at nothing. Goku sat on the floor near the hearth, arms crossed, replaying the conversation with Odin over and over. "He got to you," Mimir said quietly. "I can see it, lad. The seeds of doubt are planted." "He made sense," Goku admitted. "That's the problem. If I really am causing dimensional damage just by being here, and if people back home could get hurt because I refused help, how do I justify that? By understanding that Odin's help always comes with strings attached, Kratos said without turning from the window. Strings that strangle. He will get what he wants from you, and you will get nothing but regrets. But what if he's telling the truth about the dimensional collapse? Goku pressed. What if doing nothing is worse than dealing with him? Kratos finally turned, and his expression carried the weight of experience written in scars and ash. I have walked this path before. In Greece, the gods offered bargains, power for service, victory for loyalty. Every deal seemed reasonable at the time. Every promise felt genuine, and every single one led to death and betrayal. He crossed the room, sitting heavily on a bench that creaked under his weight. Ares promised to save my army if I served him. I accepted. He bound me with the blades of chaos and turned me into a monster. Athena promised wisdom and freedom. I trusted her. She manipulated me into killing my own family. Zeus promised protection for Sparta. I believed him. He destroyed everything I loved. Kratos' voice was flat, emotionless, but Goku heard the pain underneath. Each time the deal made sense. Each time I thought I was choosing the lesser evil. And each time I was wrong. Your world sounds really messed up, Goku said quietly. It was, Kratos agreed. I destroyed it, killed the gods, toppled Olympus, drowned Greece in chaos and blood. And I came here, hoping to escape that cycle. But Odin is no different from Zeus. Different face, different realm, same lies. Atreus joined them, carrying mugs of something hot that smelled medicinal. But Goku's not you, father. He doesn't have your history with the gods. Maybe Odin will deal fairly with him because he has no reason not to. The All-Father doesn't need reasons, Mimir interjected. He acts from obsession, not logic. His need to know everything, to control every outcome, to prevent Ragnarok at any cost, that drives him more than reason ever could. And Goku represents something he can't predict, can't control. That makes him simultaneously the most valuable and most dangerous thing in the 9 realms. Goku sipped the drink Atreus had given him, grimacing at the bitter taste. So what are my actual options here? Stay and hope the dimensional thing doesn't get worse. Try to find another way home without Odin's help? Just trust that everything will work out. You fight, Kratos said simply. Not necessarily. I mean, fighting's great and all, but it doesn't solve every problem. Goku set down the mug. Back home, I faced situations where punching harder wasn't the answer. Sometimes you need strategy. Sometimes you need help. And yeah, sometimes you need to work with people you don't fully trust. And how often did that work without consequences? Kratos asked. Goku thought about Frieza, about the tournament of power where universes had been at stake, about trusting Beerus not to destroy Earth despite the god of destruction's whims. Not always perfectly, he admitted, but we survived, we adapted, and sometimes taking a risk was better than giving up. The fire crackled in the silence that followed. Outside, wind howled through the trees, carrying with it the promise of deeper cold. Goku felt the weight of displacement more acutely than he had since arriving. The knowledge that every friend, every familiar place, every comfort of home was impossibly far away, separated by barriers he didn't understand and couldn't cross alone. There's something else, Atreus said hesitantly. When Odin mentioned the Jötnar knowledge about dimensional travel, he wasn't lying about that. My mother's people, the giants, they studied the branches of Yggdrasil and the spaces between. Their murals show pathways that connect to places outside the world tree. Your mother was a giant? Goku asked, surprised. Atreus nodded. Laufey, she was the last guardian of Jotunheim and understood things about fate and prophecy that even the gods didn't. If anyone left knowledge about dimensional travel, it would be the giants, but Odin hunted them to extinction, Mimir finished grimly. Slaughtered them for their knowledge, for their prophecies, for their ability to see outcomes he couldn't control. Whatever they knew, he claimed it, which means he probably does have information that could help. Goku leaned forward, elbows on his knees. So if the giant's knowledge exists and Odin has it, then maybe I do need his help. But if I give him what he wants, information about how my powers work, how dimensional travel functions in my universe, what does he do with that? He finds a way to weaponize it, Kratos said with absolute certainty. Everything Odin learns becomes a tool for control. If he understands how to manipulate dimensional barriers the way you describe, he could reach beyond the 9 realms. Escape prophecy by escaping the system entirely, or worse, drag other realms into his web. The implications settled over Goku like a weight. This wasn't just about getting home anymore. This was about potentially giving a manipulative god access to the multiverse itself. If Odin learned to breach dimensional barriers, what would stop him from doing to other universes what he'd done to the 9 realms? Okay, Goku said slowly. So, working with Odin is probably a bad idea. What's the alternative? We search for the giant's knowledge ourselves, Atreus suggested. Mother hid things, left messages and murals in Jotunheim that Odin hasn't found. Maybe there's something there about dimensional travel, something we could use without giving Odin anything. Jotunheim is sealed, Kratos reminded him. And you would need to come with us, Mimir added to Goku. If there's information about dimensional travel, you're the only one who might recognize it or understand how to apply it. But that means more time in the 9 realms, more destabilization, more risk of the wound growing worse. Goku stood, pacing now, working through the problem the way he worked through new fighting techniques. What if the destabilization isn't random? When I use my KI here, it feels wrong because the metaphysics don't match. Like trying to force water through a pipe built for air. But the Kaioken worked better because it uses internal energy. What if I'm causing damage because I keep trying to use power the wrong way? You think you can adapt, Kratos said, understanding immediately. Not just adapt my fighting, adapt my existence. Stop pushing against the dimensional barriers and start working with them, like learning to swim instead of trying to walk underwater. Goku's excitement built as the idea crystallized. Back home, I trained in different gravitational fields, different atmospheric conditions, even in the time chamber where the rules were different. I learned to adjust. Why not here? Because the adjustment might be impossible, Mimir cautioned. You're not just in a different environment, you're in a different fundamental reality. The metaphysical framework is incompatible with your biology. Maybe, Goku acknowledged, but I won't know unless I try. And if I can stabilize myself, stop causing damage just by existing, then I buy us time. time to search for the giant's knowledge without a ticking clock forcing bad decisions. Kratos studied the stranger who'd fallen into their lives just yesterday. There was something in Goku's eyes that reminded him of himself years ago, that refusal to accept limitations, that drive to overcome any obstacle through sheer determination and training. It had led Kratos to both his greatest triumphs and his worst atrocities. "You would train," Kratos said. "Yes. In a realm where your power barely functions, against forces you don't understand, with no guarantee of success." "That's basically every new technique I've ever learned," Goku said with a grin. "Master Roshi had me delivering milk to build strength. King Kai made me catch his monkey on a planet with crushing gravity. Whis hit me with his staff for months while teaching me Ultra Instinct. If there's one thing I'm good at, it's training in impossible conditions." Kratos almost smiled. "Almost. Then we train. You learn to exist in this realm without tearing it apart, and we search for answers that don't require bargaining with Odin. And when the All-Father comes demanding an answer," Mimir asked, "we tell him the truth." Goku said, "that I'm working on solving the problem without his help. If he really wants to prevent dimensional collapse, he should be happy about that. And if he's not, then we know his true priorities." Atreus finished, "and we act accordingly." The decision settled over them like snow, quiet but definite. They would take the harder path, the one that required effort and risk instead of convenient bargains. Goku felt more comfortable with this plan than he had with anything since arriving. Training he understood. Improving himself he could do. And if it meant telling a manipulative god no, well, he'd told gods no before. Outside, the night deepened. Somewhere in Asgard, Odin would be watching through his ravens, calculating contingencies, preparing for every possible response. But here, in a modest house in the wildwoods, 4 very different individuals had found common ground. Tomorrow, the real work would begin. Dawn came cold and sharp. Goku woke to find Kratos already outside, moving through combat forms with the Leviathan axe. Each swing was precise, economical, containing power that only released at the exact moment of impact. No wasted energy, no unnecessary flourish. Pure efficiency refined through decades of killing gods. Goku watched for several minutes before stepping out into the snow. His breath misted in air that bit at his lungs, and he realized he'd grown somewhat accustomed to the cold, his body adapting automatically like it had in countless other harsh environments. "Your form is different," Kratos observed, not stopping his routine. "Different from what?" "From yesterday. You move more carefully, testing each step." Goku looked down at his feet, surprised. Kratos was right. He'd been unconsciously placing each foot with deliberate precision, feeling how the ground connected to his body, how his energy flowed in this realm. The adaptation had already begun without him consciously directing it. "Muscle memory," Goku said. "My body's trying to figure out the new rules. Then we test them properly." Kratos drove the axe into the ground and turned to face Goku fully. "You wish to adapt to this realm. That requires understanding your limits here. We spar." "Really?" Goku's face brightened immediately. "I mean, yeah, absolutely. Should I hold back or fight as if your life depends on victory?" Kratos said flatly. "Because eventually it will." They moved to a clearing 50 yards from the house where the snow lay undisturbed and the trees formed a natural arena. Atreus emerged with Mimir, positioning themselves at a safe distance. The boy's eyes were wide with anticipation, while the severed head looked more concerned. This is either the best training idea or the worst, Mimir muttered. I'm leaning toward worst. Kratos and Goku faced each other across 30 feet of snow. Neither spoke. The moment stretched, tension building like a drawn bowstring. Then Kratos moved, not fast by godly standards, but fast enough that a mortal would have seen only a blur. His fist drove toward Goku's face with force that would shatter stone. Goku slipped the punch, muscle memory from millions of sparring matches guiding him. He countered with a quick jab to Kratos' ribs, pulling it slightly, still uncertain how much force was appropriate. The impact made a solid sound. Kratos didn't even flinch. He grabbed Goku's extended arm, twisted, and threw him. Not with divine strength, but with technique that turned Goku's own momentum against him. Goku hit the snow and rolled, coming up with genuine surprise on his face. Okay, you're really good at this. You hesitated, Kratos said. Don't. This time, Goku initiated. He closed the distance with a combination: left jab, right cross, spinning kick. Kratos blocked two and took the kick on his forearm, the impact driving him back 3 inches. They separated and immediately re-engaged. The fight developed its own rhythm. Goku's martial arts training against Kratos' brutal Spartan technique. Speed and precision against raw power and ruthless efficiency. Neither man used their supernatural abilities. No cures, no godly strength, just pure skill in the bodies they inhabited. Goku found himself genuinely challenged. Without reliable ki enhancement, without the ability to sense his opponent's intentions, he had to rely on reading body language and reacting to actual movement. It was like fighting blindfolded, and Kratos was absolutely unforgiving in exploiting every tiny hesitation. A punch got through Goku's guard, catching him on the jaw. His head snapped back and he tasted blood. Instead of concern, he felt excitement surge through him. This was real training, real growth. He swept Kratos' leg, actually managing to take the bigger man down. They grappled in the snow, each trying to gain position advantage. Kratos fought like someone who'd learned combat in actual war. No honor, no fairness, just whatever worked. Goku adapted, matching dirty tactics with his own techniques learned across a lifetime of fights. They broke apart, both breathing harder now. Sweat froze on Goku's skin despite the exertion heating his body. His GI was torn in 2 new places, and his ribs ached where Kratos had landed a solid elbow. Again, Kratos said. Wait. Goku held up a hand. Let me try something. He closed his eyes, centering himself the way Master Roshi had taught him decades ago. Back to basics. Forget Kai sense, forget energy manipulation. Just feel the world directly through physical senses. Hear the wind, smell the pine, taste the cold, feel the ground beneath his feet and how it connected to everything around him. When he opened his eyes, something had shifted. The world looked the same, but felt different, more solid, more present. He could sense Kratos not through energy, but through the way the man's presence affected the environment around him, the displaced air. The slight sounds of breathing and movement, the shadow he cast. It wasn't ki sense, but it was something. Ready, Goku said. This exchange was faster. Goku anticipated movements a split second earlier, not through reading energy, but through reading the physical tells that preceded action. When Kratos shifted his weight, Goku knew a punch was coming. When his shoulder tensed, a grab was imminent. They traded blows that would have killed normal humans. Goku's knuckles split against Kratos' hardened skin. Kratos' strikes left bruises that would have cracked mortal bones. And slowly, incrementally, Goku felt his body starting to synchronize with this realm. His movements became more fluid, his power output more stable. "Enough," Kratos finally said, stepping back. Both men were marked, Goku with a split lip and developing black eye, Kratos with bruised ribs and scraped knuckles. They'd been fighting for over an hour without noticing the time pass. "You adapted mid-fight," Kratos observed. "Your technique changed." "I stopped trying to force my old methods and started working with what this realm allows," Goku explained, still catching his breath. "It's like you said yesterday. The weapon matters more than the wielder here. So I made my body the weapon instead of trying to channel external energy through it." "Show me," Kratos said. Goku concentrated, but differently this time. Instead of trying to project ki outward, he drew it inward, condensing it into his physical form. His muscles tensed, his body temperature rose, and for a moment, a faint red aura flickered around him. Kaioken, but more controlled than before, more stable. He released it immediately, not wanting to risk damage, but the point was made. "Better," Kratos acknowledged, "but you still flare energy outward at the moment of release. That's what destabilizes. You must contain it completely." "Like internal alchemy," Atreus called out, approaching now that the active sparring had ended. "We learned about it from the dwarves. Brock and Sindri work magic onto metal by containing it perfectly. No leakage, no waste. Everything serves the purpose." Goku nodded, the concept clicking. "So I need to treat my techniques like forging. Internal transformation that doesn't bleed energy into the environment." "Easier said than done, lad," Mimir warned. "You're talking about fundamentally restructuring how you use power. That could take years to master." "Then I'd better get started," Goku said. He looked at Kratos. "Will you keep training with me? I learn better with a partner, and you don't hold back. That helps." Kratos considered for a long moment. Then he nodded once. "Every morning, until you master it or the realms fall apart, whichever comes first." "Deal." Goku extended his hand again. This time Kratos took it. The grip was firm, testing, two warriors acknowledging mutual respect. As they walked back to the house to tend their injuries, none of them noticed the raven watching from a distant tree. Or if they did, they chose not to acknowledge it. Odin would be receiving reports. Let him. They were committed to their path now, and whatever consequences came from refusing the Allfather's bargain would be faced when they arrived. 3 days of training transformed Goku's understanding of power. Each morning he sparred with Kratos, pushing his body to adapt to the 9 realms' metaphysical framework. Each afternoon he meditated, learning to contain his energy completely rather than letting it bleed into the environment. Each evening he discussed theory with Mimir, who proved surprisingly knowledgeable about dimensional mechanics despite being a severed head. The changes were subtle but significant. Goku's ki no longer destabilized when he accessed it. Instead, it burned internally, channeled through his physical form like blood through veins. His Kaioken became more reliable, the red aura barely visible now, all its power directed inward rather than radiating outward. He couldn't fly, couldn't teleport, couldn't throw energy blasts that would obey him reliably. But he could fight, and fight well, using techniques adapted to this realm's rules. On the 4th morning, Thor arrived, They heard him before they saw him, thunder that shook the earth, lightning that carved symbols into the sky. The storm gathered over the wild woods with unnatural speed, clouds boiling black and angry. Goku was mid-punch when the first lightning bolt struck 20 yards away, scorching the earth. "Thor," Kratos said, the name carrying weight like a death sentence. The god of thunder descended on a column of lightning, Mjolnir in hand, wearing armor that had seen countless battles. He was massive, nearly as tall as Kratos, but broader, with red hair and a beard braided with rings of gold. His eyes crackled with barely contained violence, and when he spoke, his voice was thunder given form. "Father sends his regards." Thor's gaze swept across them, dismissive and hostile. "Says the strangers had enough time to consider. Says decisions need making." He focused on Goku. "You're the one causing problems. Don't look like much." "Thor." Kratos positioned himself between the god and Goku. "This doesn't concern you." "Everything in the 9 realms concerns me," Thor replied. "I'm the one who cleans up messes. And you?" He pointed Mjolnir at Goku. "You're a mess that needs cleaning, so here's how this goes. You come with me to Asgard, answer Father's questions, or I drag you there broken. Your choice." Goku stepped around Kratos despite the warning growl from the Ghost of Sparta. "I appreciate the offer, but I'm not going anywhere with Odin. I'm working on fixing the dimensional problem myself." Thor laughed, the sound like rocks grinding. "You think you get to refuse the All-Father? You think your wants matter?" He hefted Mjolnir. "I've killed bigger threats than you before breakfast, so unless you want to test whether you can survive what this hammer does." "Actually, yeah," Goku interrupted. "I would like to test that." The clearing went silent except for the rumbling thunder. Even Thor seemed surprised. "What? You're supposed to be the strongest god here, right? The god of thunder. I've been wanting to see how I measure up against this realm's fighters. So if you're offering a match..." Goku dropped into a fighting stance. "I accept." "Lad, no," Mimir hissed. "Thor doesn't spar. He kills." "This isn't a game," Thor growled, but there was something new in his expression. Interest. The kind of interest a warrior showed when unexpectedly challenged. "I've crushed giants, slaughtered dragons, battled armies alone. You really think you can stand against me?" "Won't know until we try," Goku said simply. Kratos grabbed Goku's shoulder. "He will kill you. Mjolnir has ended gods. You're not ready." "Maybe not," Goku admitted. "But I've learned more in 3 days of real fighting than I could in weeks of meditation. And if Thor's as strong as everyone says, fighting him will teach me more about my limits here than anything else could." He looked at Thor. "Unless you're worried." That did it. Thor's eyes blazed with lightning and his grin was all violence. "Fine. I'll break you quick, drag what's left to Asgard. Father can question the pieces." He raised Mjolnir and the sky responded. Lightning poured down around them, a cage of electricity that turned the clearing into an arena. Atreus pulled Mimir back, finding cover behind a boulder. Kratos remained at the edge, axe in hand, ready to intervene despite knowing it might mean his own death. Thor moved first, covering the distance impossibly fast for something so large. Mjolnir swung in an arc that distorted the air itself. Goku dodged, the hammer passing so close he felt its wind. The weapon hit the ground where he'd stood, and the resulting shockwave carved a crater 10 feet deep. Goku countered with a punch to Thor's jaw. The impact would have killed mortals, but Thor just turned his head slightly, more surprised than hurt. "You actually hit hard," Thor said, sounding pleased. He swung again. This time Goku blocked, catching the hammer's haft with both hands. The force drove him into the earth up to his ankles, but he held. Lightning arced from Mjolnir directly into Goku's body. It should have killed him. Would have killed anyone who wasn't Saiyan tough and trained to endure punishment that broke normal limits. Instead, Goku gritted his teeth and pushed back. Kaioken! Red energy exploded inward, multiplying his strength. He shoved Thor backward, actually moved the god of thunder before the technique guttered out, leaving him gasping. Thor's expression shifted from amusement to genuine engagement. "Now we're talking." He recalled Mjolnir and charged. What followed was less a fight and more a natural disaster. Thor swung the hammer with abandon, each strike capable of shattering mountains. Goku dodged, blocked, and countered when he could, but he was outmatched. A glancing blow sent him tumbling through 3 trees. A direct hit to his guard broke his stance and left his arms numb. Lightning struck him twice, cooking flesh that was only Saiyan durability kept from charring completely. But Goku kept getting up. Each time Thor knocked him down, he rose. Each time Mjolnir connected, he adapted his defense. His body learned Thor's rhythm. His instincts cataloged the tells that preceded each attack. He wasn't winning, wasn't even close to winning, but he was surviving. And survival was a victory of its own. "You're tough," Thor admitted, breathing only slightly harder. "Tougher than most, but tough doesn't beat godly." He raised Mjolnir high, calling down a lightning bolt that would end this definitively. Goku saw it coming, saw the energy gathering, saw his own death approaching in a column of electric fury. And in that moment, something clicked. He'd been treating this realm's energy like an enemy, something to fight against. But what if he treated it like Kai, something to harmonize with? The lightning descended. Goku didn't dodge. He opened himself to it, letting it flow through his body instead of resisting. The pain was incredible, burning through every nerve, but he channeled it, redirected it, used Thor's own power against the metaphysical resistance that had been blocking his techniques. When the lightning cleared, Goku was still standing, smoking, burned, but standing. And around him, stabilized by the forced synchronization, his ki burned steady and true. "Huh," he said, looking at his hands. "That actually worked." Thor stared. Then slowly, he began to laugh. Real laughter. Not mocking, but appreciative. "You used my lightning to fix whatever was broken in you. That's either genius or the dumbest thing I've ever seen." He lowered Mjolnir. "You've got spine, stranger. I'll give you that." "So we're done fighting?" Goku asked hopefully. "For now." Thor's expression hardened. "But Father won't accept defiance. You refuse his help. You make yourself his problem, and his problems tend to end badly." "I'll handle that when it comes," Goku said. Thor nodded once, the gesture carrying respect between warriors. "See that you do." He raised Mjolnir, and lightning carried him skyward, the storm dissipating as quickly as it had formed. Goku collapsed immediately, every injury catching up at once. Kratos caught him before he hit the ground. That was foolish. "Yeah," Goku agreed weakly. But it worked. Recovery took 2 days. Goku's Saiyan biology accelerated the healing, but Thor's lightning had done damage that went deeper than flesh. Kratos applied poultices that smelled like death and probably contained ingredients Goku didn't want to know about. Atreus changed bandages and told stories about Norse mythology to pass the time. Mimir provided commentary that was equal parts educational and sarcastic. By the third day, Goku could stand without his legs shaking. By the fourth, he was testing his newly stabilized ki in controlled exercises, marveling at how the forced synchronization with Thor's lightning had solved the metaphysical incompatibility. His energy flowed smoothly now, obeying his will without the stuttering resistance that had plagued him since arrival. He still couldn't fly. The realm's physics simply didn't allow for Kai-based flight the way his universe did, but everything else worked. Kamehameha. Instant transmission, though it was harder to lock onto signatures in this realm. Even brief flickers of Super Saiyan, though he kept those minimal, still uncertain about pushing too hard. "You're adapting faster than expected," Mimir observed one evening. "Most beings take decades to adjust to new realms if they manage it at all. You've done it in days." "I've had practice," Goku said, working through a kata that blended his martial arts with techniques he'd learned watching Kratos fight. "And good teachers." He nodded toward Kratos, who acknowledged it with the barest inclination of his head. The peaceful routine shattered on the fifth morning when Atreus came running back from checking his trap lines, eyes wide with alarm. "Father, there's something in Jotunheim. The realm tower activated on its own." Kratos was on his feet immediately. "That's impossible. The realm is sealed. No one can access it without the right key or knowledge." Mimir finished grimly. "Knowledge that Odin has been seeking for decades. If he's found a way in, then he's looking for the same thing we need," Goku said, understanding immediately. The giant's knowledge about dimensional travel. They gathered weapons and supplies with practiced efficiency. Goku felt strange not preparing for battle in his usual way. No weighted training clothes to remove, no power level to suppress, but the anticipation was the same. Whatever they found in Jotunheim would determine his path forward. The journey to the realm tower took an hour. When they arrived, the massive structure was humming with energy, its crystalline surface glowing with runes that pulsed like a heartbeat. The doorway to Jotunheim stood open, revealing a swirling vortex of light and possibility. "Someone went through recently," Kratos observed, examining scorch marks on the stone. "Within the hour." "Odin wouldn't go himself," Mimir said. "Too risky. He'd send agents, but who?" A figure emerged from the vortex before he could finish. She was tall, beautiful, and moved with lethal grace. Feathers adorned her armor, and her eyes carried the weight of ancient grief and recent rage. Goku didn't need introductions to recognize power when he saw it. "Freya," Kratos said, his voice neutral but his body language shifting to combat readiness. "Stand aside," the Vanir goddess said, her voice cold. "I have business in Jotunheim that doesn't concern you." "If it involves Odin's plans, it concerns us," Kratos replied. "I'm done with Odin's plans." Freya's composure cracked, showing the fury beneath. "I'm there for my own purposes." The giants knew things about breaking bindings, about undoing curses. Odin took that knowledge, hid it in Jotunheim where he thought I'd never reach. But I found a way. "What curse?" Goku asked, stepping forward despite Kratos' warning glance. Freya's eyes fixed on him, and he felt the full weight of her attention. So you're the anomaly, the one who's caused such disruption. She studied him with an intensity that suggested she was seeing more than his physical form. You carry death with you, stranger. Not maliciously, but death nonetheless. Your very presence weakens the boundaries between realms. I'm working on fixing that, Goku said, and I need what's in Jotunheim to do it. Information the giants left about dimensional travel. If you're going there anyway, maybe we can help each other. Freya laughed, bitter and sharp. Help? From the man who killed my son and the stranger who threatens everything? No, I work alone. She turned back toward the vortex. Don't follow me, I won't warn twice. She vanished into the light. Kratos moved immediately, stepping toward the portal. Atreus followed without hesitation. Goku joined them, and together they plunged into the vortex. Reality twisted. Goku felt the dimensional shift like ice water through his veins, different from traveling between universes, but similar enough to be recognizable. When the world solidified, they stood in a realm of impossible beauty and terrible silence. Jotunheim was frozen in time. Literally. Statues of giants stood everywhere, caught mid-motion, their stone faces expressing shock and fear and defiance. They weren't statues, Goku realized with horror. They were actual giants, petrified in the moment of some cataclysm. Odin's work, Mimir said quietly. When he couldn't control the giants, when they refused to bend to his will, he found a way to freeze them all at once. Trapped them in their own realm, neither living nor dead. It's his greatest crime and his most closely guarded secret. The landscape stretched out in crystalline beauty. Towers of ice, bridges of frozen light, and in the distance, a temple that radiated power, even in stillness. Freya was already halfway to it, moving with purpose. She's after the temple, Atreus said. That's where Mother said the giants kept their most important knowledge. They gave chase across a realm that felt like walking through a memory. Every step took them past frozen giants, each one a life ended mid-breath, a story halted mid-telling. Goku felt anger building, the kind of anger he usually reserved for beings like Frieza, who treated life as disposable. Odin had done this, had murdered an entire race to protect his secrets and maintain his control. No wonder Kratos spoke of gods with such contempt. They reached the temple's entrance just behind Freya. She turned, magic crackling around her hands. I told you not to follow. And I've learned not to trust people who want something desperately enough to work alone, Kratos replied. We enter together, or we fight here. Choose. Freya's magic intensified, nature itself responding to her fury. Vines erupted from frozen ground, roots cracked through ice, and the air filled with the promise of violence. Goku stepped between them, hands raised peacefully. Look, I don't understand your history or your grudges, but we all need something in that temple. Fighting wastes time and energy. What if we make a deal? We help you find your curse-breaking knowledge. You help us find dimensional travel information. Everyone gets what they need. You think it's that simple? Freya demanded. I think fighting's only necessary when talking fails, Goku replied. And we haven't really tried talking yet. The goddess stared at him, magic still swirling dangerously. Then, slowly, it dissipated. You're either very brave or very stupid. I get that a lot, Goku said with a small smile. Freya looked at Kratos, at Atreus, at the strange warrior from another universe who spoke of cooperation where she'd expected only opposition. Something in her expression shifted. Not trust, but perhaps the willingness to postpone violence. "Fine," she said. "But if you interfere with what I came for, stranger or not, I will end you." "Fair enough," Goku agreed. Together, the unlikely group entered the temple. The walls were covered in murals depicting the giants' history, their wars with the Aesir, and their final days. But deeper in, past chambers, filled with frozen treasures and petrified guardians, they found what they'd come for. A chamber where the walls themselves seemed to pulse with knowledge. Runes covered every surface, glowing faintly, containing information compressed into symbolic form. Mimir gasped. "This is it, the giants' repository, everything they knew preserved here." Freya moved immediately to one section of wall, her hands tracing runes with desperate intensity. Kratos and Atreus approached another section, where prophetic murals showed futures that might still come to pass. And Goku found himself drawn to a third section, where the runes seemed to writhe and shift, depicting not the 9 realms but something beyond them. Dimensions, universes, the vast web of existence itself. And there, in symbols, he somehow understood despite never learning them. Instructions. A way home. The knowledge carved into the temple walls was almost overwhelming. Goku traced his fingers over the runes and somehow they made sense. Not through language, but through pure conceptual understanding. The giants had studied the branches of Yggdrasil extensively, mapping not just the 9 realms, but the spaces between realities, the thin places where dimensions touched. They discovered that dimensional barriers weren't walls, but membranes, and with the right application of force and frequency, those membranes could be crossed deliberately rather than torn accidentally. The method was complex but achievable. Goku would need to generate a specific resonance frequency with his ki, matching the dimensional signature of his home universe while standing at a convergence point where the barriers were naturally thin. The temple provided coordinates for such a convergence point. Ironically, the very crater where he'd first landed. The dimensional wound he'd caused by arriving had created a weak point that could be exploited for controlled passage. But there was a cost. Opening the passage would require channeling massive amounts of energy in a way that would temporarily destabilize every realm connected to that convergence point. The 9 realms would shake, barriers would weaken, and anything sensitive to dimensional fluctuations would feel it across all of Yggdrasil, including Odin. "This is dangerous," Mimir said, reading over Goku's shoulder. "You'd essentially be ringing a dinner bell for every god and monster in the 9 realms, and the destabilization could last hours, maybe days." "But it would work?" Goku asked. "Theoretically, yes. The giants knew their business. If the instructions are followed precisely, you should be able to return home." Mimir paused, though I noticed the runes don't mention whether the person attempting the crossing survives the process. Across the chamber, Freya had found what she sought. Her face showed a mixture of hope and anguish as she read the ancient knowledge about breaking Odin's binding spell, the curse that prevented her from leaving Midgard, that had trapped her in the realm even as her son Baldur had been free to hunt them. The price for breaking such a curse was steep, requiring sacrifice that made even the goddess hesitate. Kratos and Atreus studied the prophetic murals, searching for anything that might help them understand or alter the fate that supposedly awaited them. The images showed possible futures, some where Kratos fell, others where he stood victorious, many where the outcomes remained ambiguous, shrouded in symbolic imagery that resisted clear interpretation. The giants believed fate could be changed, Atreus said quietly, reading the inscriptions beneath the murals. They said prophecy shows the most likely path, not the only path. That's why Odin feared them. They proved his obsession with controlling destiny was based on a false premise. Kratos placed a hand on his son's shoulder, and for a moment, the Ghost of Sparta allowed himself something that might have been hope. A sound echoed through the temple, footsteps approaching from the entrance. Multiple footsteps, heavy and purposeful. The group tensed immediately, weapons appearing in hands. Freya's magic flared. Kratos summoned the Leviathan axe. Goku dropped into a fighting stance. From the shadows emerged a squad of Einherjar, Odin's elite warriors, dead heroes bound to serve the All-Father in death. Behind them walked a figure Goku hadn't seen before, but recognized from descriptions. Tall, missing an eye, carrying himself with the confidence of someone who'd never truly been challenged. Odin had come personally. Magnificent, isn't it? The All-Father's voice was almost conversational as he gazed around the chamber. The giant's final repository. I've been searching for this place for decades. So many secrets, so much knowledge they tried to hide from me. His single eye fixed on Goku. And here you are, the key that unlocked it. Your dimensional disruption weakened the seals just enough for my agents to slip through. I should thank you. You used me, Goku said, understanding clicking into place. The invitation, the threats, sending Thor, all of it was to keep me destabilized, keep me radiating dimensional energy that would weaken the barriers to Jotunheim. Partially, Odin admitted, though I genuinely would have preferred your cooperation. The knowledge you possess about dimensional travel from your universe's perspective would have been valuable. This, he gestured at the walls, provides an adequate alternative. Freya stepped forward, power crackling around her. You're not taking anything else from me, All-Father. Not this time. Oh, Freya, still so dramatic. Odin sighed. You've found the curse-breaking ritual, I assume. Go ahead, use it. Pay the price it demands. I'm curious to see if you actually have the strength. The goddess froze, and Goku saw the trap. Whatever price the ritual demanded, Odin knew about it. Had probably counted on it being too steep for Freya to pay. Another manipulation, another way of controlling outcomes without directly causing them. Enough, Kratos said, his voice carrying the finality of a closing tomb. You will leave. Now. Will I? Odin's expression didn't change, but the Einherjar stepped forward, weapons drawn. You've become predictable, Kratos. I knew you'd bring the stranger here eventually. Knew you'd search for answers rather than accept my help. And now you've done exactly what I needed. Opened Jotunheim and led me to the greatest concentration of giant knowledge in existence. The All-Father began walking toward the walls, clearly intending to study or copy the runes. Goku made a decision. He placed both hands together, focused his Kai precisely the way the temple instructions had described, and released a Kamehameha directly at the wall section containing dimensional travel knowledge. The energy blast, now fully stabilized and controlled, struck the ancient stone and obliterated it. Runes that had survived millennia vanished in an instant, knowledge lost forever. Odin spun, genuine shock on his face. "What have you done?" "Removed your leverage," Goku said calmly. "I memorized what I needed. Now no one else can use it." It was a bluff. He'd memorized most of it, but not everything. But Odin didn't need to know that. The Allfather's shock transformed into cold rage. "You destroyed irreplaceable knowledge. Do you have any concept of what was lost?" "Yeah." Goku met his gaze without flinching. "I know exactly what was lost. The ability for someone like you to chase people across dimensions, to extend your control beyond the 9 realms. Seemed like a bad idea to leave that lying around." For a long moment, Odin stared at him. Then, impossibly, he laughed. "You continue to surprise me, stranger. Perhaps I underestimated you." His expression hardened. "But you've also made yourself an enemy. No one destroys knowledge in my presence and walks away unpunished." "Then punish me," Goku said. "But let them go. Whatever grudge you're starting, it's with me, not them." Kratos stepped beside Goku, axe ready. "We leave together or not at all." Atreus joined his father, bow drawn. Even Freya, after a moment's hesitation, added her power to the group. 4 against Odin and his warriors. The Allfather studied them, calculating odds, considering options. Finally, he stepped back. "This isn't over. The dimensional instability you've caused still echoes through the realms. Eventually it will create another weakness, another opportunity. And when it does, I'll be ready." He gestured to his Einherjar, and they withdrew, shadows swallowing them as completely as they'd arrived. The group remained tense for several minutes after Odin's departure, waiting for the other shoe to drop. When nothing happened, they finally relaxed. "That was either very brave or very stupid," Freya said, echoing her earlier assessment. "Definitely stupid," Mimir agreed. "But effective, I'll give you that." Goku looked at the destroyed wall section, at the knowledge now lost to everyone including himself. The bluff had worked, but the cost was real. He'd have to reconstruct the technique from memory. Hope he'd retained enough detail to make it work. Still, keeping it from Odin seemed worth the risk. They left Jotunheim together, passing the frozen giants one final time. Goku paused before a statue. A giant warrior caught mid-charge, weapon raised, face defiant, even in petrification. "I'll find a way to help them," he said quietly. "When I get stronger, when I understand this realm better, I'll come back." Kratos didn't tell him it was impossible. Didn't point out that even gods had failed to break Odin's spell. He simply nodded, acknowledging the promise. Back in Midgard, as the sun set over the Lake of Nine, the group stood at the shore. Freya departed first, still clutching the knowledge she'd gained, the impossible choice awaiting her. She looked back once, her expression unreadable, before vanishing into the forest. "What will you do now?" Atreus asked Goku. "Practice," Goku replied. "The technique for getting home is complex. I need to master the energy control, find the exact convergence point, get the timing perfect. Could take weeks. Or months," Mimir added helpfully. Goku grinned. "Then I guess I'm staying a while longer. Hope you don't mind the house guest." Kratos almost smiled. "Almost. You will continue training, each morning." "Wouldn't have it any other way," Goku said. As night fell over the 9 realms, somewhere in Asgard, Odin plotted his next move. In Midgard, a Saiyan warrior practiced dimensional resonance techniques by firelight. And across the universe, in a place called Earth, where friends and family waited unknowingly, the Dragon Balls scattered once more, preparing for wishes yet to be made. The gods feared what had begun. But Goku had faced gods before, and somehow, despite everything, he suspected this story was just getting started. The gods fear what you've witnessed. More tales await.